Welcome to Castaway Track.
Welcome.
Where we are. That camera? What tracks they'll take to a desert island. Sounds like a mass.
Welcome to the first ever Genesis edition of Tracks for a Castaway, in which we ask interesting questions to interesting people through the lens of music about their lives.
Our first guest is Marlaina Smith. She is an actor and singer-songwriter based here in Los Angeles, and she recently played an important role in the show The Chosen.
Marlaina played Judas.
Or maybe she didn't. We're gonna ask Marlaina Smith which 6 songs she will choose to take to a desert island.
This is Tracks for a Castaway. How are we starting this?
Well, we have here Marlaina Smith. Thank you for being here with us.
Welcome.
Sorry, it was like there's a lot of voices. So
She's
think
snorting over here.
I think it's very epic that your first ever podcast, the first noise that comes out of your mouth is a snort.
Well, some content warning for our viewers. Marlaina burps frequently, so we're most likely going to
Please
experience
adjust your
that.
volumes levels.
But I haven't had any suds, so it should be okay.
Well, we'll see about that. I know you've been waiting for us for quite a while now. This is the second part of our series. I'm just freaking.
This is the
you
first
keep
ever,
talking here.
the first ever Measure for Measure podcast. And you are going to be our guinea pig, Marlaina Smith. Thank you for joining us.
Let's experiment.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.
So in your website, which, because I'm a keen researcher, I looked.
Oh, I should
10
probably have
minutes ago.
updated it. Yeah.
It said
Researcher. Stalker.
It says Marlaina Smith, actor, musician, kinda cool person. What makes you kinda cool?
Oh man. Oh geez, you know. And then
Likewise.
yeah, just a
I
lot
feel that.
of.
I've noticed a lot of that one.
Like if you count them up, it's like not that many things, but it's like a few things. So that's why it's kinda.
Where do you hail from?
Houston. I'm from Houston. Living in Sherman Oaks, if we want to get specific. I don't know.
So you're a Texan? Do you identify as a person from Texas?
Yeah, I mean, that is where I'm from, so that makes sense.
Do you think that Texas, everything is bigger in Texas?
Oh, yeah, I mean, we got, like, you know, you can get, like, really good, like, barbecue and on, like, a giant tray, so.
I've only been to Texas in airports on the way to other places.
Oh, same. That's not true. I've been to Texas once.
Well, I was 2 days in El Paso one time. That's the only city that I left the airport for.
You say El Paso?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. So my mom lived for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when she left, or once her family left Mexico, then they, like, stayed in El Paso for a little bit and then made their way to Houston.
So your mom is of Mexican descent?
Yes, precious lady.
And your father?
He's from, I mean, he's white, but he's from, Maryland. He was actually born in California, and then I think he went to high school in Maryland, and then went to college in Florida.
And now you live in Sherman Oaks.
And now I live in Sherman Oaks.
How long?
Well, I've been in LA for 6 years.
And how much longer do you have left in LA?
That's not up to me. I don't know. I guess it is up to me, but...
Well, you'll never work in this town again.
Yeah, just for not being here.
Yeah. One day I want to say that to someone.
Yeah. You can say, you just said it to me.
I
so.
did, but like I gotta say that for reals.
You want to mean it.
Well, as you may know, we force you to pick 8 songs that you would take to a desert island. And this premise, I have to admit, it's not an original concept that I came up with. There's an old BBC show that we would very respectfully are going to parody and butcher a bit, in which you're going to be taking these records or tracks or pieces or works, whatever, to a desert island. And we're going to start with the first one of your choice, which is the song Grace by, can you say who?
Jeff Buckley.
What a guy.
Can you tell us why you chose this song?
Well, this would be a wild one actually having on the desert island, just because of like he is dealing with his like mortality and leaving and dying. So I probably would feel like that on an island, but at the same time he's coming to terms with it and accepting it, and he's ready for it whenever it comes, kind of thing. So and it also just sounds really sick. And his vocal, I mean, like when people talk about Jeff, they talk about his voice and how insane it is and what he can do with it and the range. And obviously his guitar playing's insane too. But it's just, I feel like what he does vocally just is really piercing to, like he's one of those artists that really feels like he fully can put in you what he's feeling. And yeah, it's just like, it's very overwhelming. So I love what I love this song, dude.
Well, Scotty, play it. So I'm gonna jump in, if we may.
Come on in.
Welcome.
Did you know that David Bowie said that? Did I pronounce it right?
Bowie.
Bowie.
Okay, sorry. Did you know that he said that Grace, the album, is one of the best albums ever made, and he himself chose this track when he went on that show.
Wow.
You're in good company.
David, what a guy.
And Bob Dylan said that Jeff Buckley was one of the great songwriters of this decade. I assume in the decade this was written.
That current
90s.
decade, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he inspired a lot of the other artists that I have on there, like Audio Slave or like Chris
spoiler,
Cornell. Oh,
spoiler.
yeah, sorry. Well,
Speaking
and
of
Radiohead.
speaking of the 90s, what were you doing in the 90s?
I was being born.
I tried that once.
I was born in '94, so I was born when this album came out.
Oh.
So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I was just goofing around.
So you have
Scrolling
memories
up.
of the 90s? Some people don't remember what.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like a lot of my memories from the '90s are through television, because there was a lot of good shows. But yeah, I mean, I remember being a kid in the '90s, but I'm sure the more prominent ones are probably the 2000s, just because.
What's your earliest memory?
I don't know. I don't know if I have one. We've talked about this before, and he's told me his earliest memory.
Yeah.
I don't know
I
if
have.
you
What
feel
is
like
your-
sharing
I mean,
that.
this show's not about me.
You asked the
But
question,
I
just
did.
lead the way.
I remember my first birthday party.
Lies.
No, everyone says that, including my wife. But I remember, what I remember is coming out of my dad carried me out of the room, and there was a whole bunch of people there waiting for me to come out, and they were all like, yeah, woo, and I was really embarrassed. My first feeling was embarrassment, and I turned my head away. That's what I remember.
Like into his shoulder or something?
Yeah, into my dad's
Well,
shoulder.
I do
was
believe
just
it
like,
because I have a memory of my mom meeting the president of Costa Rica. I didn't know he was the president of Costa Rica, and she said I was 1 year old. My mom had me when she was in university, and the president came to speak to the university, and she went to talk to the president after the speech, and she said that was when I was 1, so she doesn't believe that I remember. But I said, I remember that you were talking to him like in behind a brick wall. That's true. That's the brick wall of the university gym. So I have evidence.
yeah, see? So we can remember, one is about when your memory starts. Fine. Do you have like a, inspirational music kind of a memory from growing up? Like what kind of got you into
Yeah.
music in general?
I mean, a lot of, or a few of those artists on that list are like artists I've been listening to since middle school. So yeah, they're still around. Can we talk about the list and
Sure, no,
sporadically,
yeah,
or
yeah.
do we have to go?
You can
through?
do whatever you want.
I mean, like, I have Linkin Park on there, so I've been listening to them since I was a kid, essentially. And, I mean, I don't know if they inspired what I do musically, but as far as just, like, being a band I really admired, they were there, and then I've never stopped listening to them, I never grew out of it. And not that you need to or should, but I think for a while there was a period where I guess people felt like they had grown out of Linkin Park, but now they're like, everyone loves them again, so it's okay. But I mean, I don't know if that's true that they grew out of it.
Like, when did you
Cut it.
start your musical journey? Like, did you start
musical
playing
journey-
instruments, singing? What did you do when?
I guess I started kind of young. Well, I was interested in playing the guitar first, and my dad had given me like my initial kind of lesson, and I was like 10, so I felt like, Or I started it and I was like, oh, this hurts my fingers too much. So I only did the one lesson with my dad. And then like when I was 13, I was like, okay, I want to do this again. So I got back on the guitar and started taking lessons because my grandmother was also very supportive, and she was like, just really encouraged it and wanted to financially support with lessons and stuff. So my dad was like, yeah, you may as well. So I was like, great. So I did that for a while. And then eventually I just started picking up the piano and goofing around on there and playing, making up stuff. And not to any degree that Ryan plays, but, you know, to my own degree.
I dabble.
You could say.
Well, that leads us to the second. Speaking of goofing around, the next song is Where I End and You Begin by?
It's not Like a Stone by Audioslave?
Yes, I skipped one. Well,
this is
the
like
next song is Like a Stone by?
Audioslave.
No. Audioslave.
Scotty. This is Like a Stone by Audioslave.
That's right.
Which is a supergroup, which is a term that I didn't know. A supergroup is a group made of members from other groups.
That's right.
There you go. Yeah, you got Tom Morello. You got Soundgarden. Formerly.
You have this thing on YouTube that you take 1 second of video of every day of the year. Yes. And at the end of the year, you put them all together. And you've been doing that for several years.
Yes. Like 6. I think I've done 6 of them. So yeah, 6 years.
6 years. It's like a diary.
Yeah, it's a nice way to keep all my memories because I'm very sentimental. You know. So.
Are you? Yeah. Are you sentimental too?
Oh, I'm very sentimental.
Yeah. I have. I revisit a lot of pictures, a lot of videos. I've like transferred all these VHS tapes. You know, I'm like whatever I can have, I want it. You know.
Is this somehow connected to your ability to act?
No, I think it's more, or like I probably became more sentimental because of like, well, I think I always was, but I want to grab more things because whenever my father had passed away, this is 10 years ago, and I was collecting all these pictures, I was like, I want more, and I want as much of this as I can have. I was like, there like wasn't enough. And, you know, I mean, there'll probably never be enough because it's always like, you know, I'm just searching. I just want him again. So it's that kind of thing. But now that and I guess in some morbid way, or it's not entirely morbid, it makes sense to want to do it. But if whatever I can have, I just want to be able to have every part of people that are in my life. So I like having all these pictures and videos because it's like I can always look back on it if for some reason they leave sooner than I anticipated. But
I mean, that makes sense. I think about that a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I could get lost in photos even about people I don't know. It's like a snapshot of that moment in time with this person, and they have a whole story.
Yeah.
So, well, if you're interested, I can just start unloading some photo albums of myself.
Great, yeah.
You know, in case I pass.
Sure.
I'm just going to start texting
whatever
you.
you got, just
Just
send
like
it my way.
I'm also a fastidious chronicler myself, and people like, are you taking a picture of this too? Why? And I think that's the same reason to create. I'm also driven by nostalgia sometimes, and but also nostalgia is a way of telling a story of why we're here in the present, the way we are. So I think that's something that artists take a lot of their art from, like all their story. Yeah. That's how we tell our new stories, by understanding our story. Right. Let's go to your next song, which now correctly is Where I End and You Begin by
Radiohead.
Scotty.
So tell us more about your dad. Was he, I mean, he introduced you to guitar, so how much of a musical influence was he in your life?
I mean, big in a way. because he was a huge Beatles fan. Both of my parents were Beatles fans. And my mom actually saw the Beatles when she was a teenager in Houston.
Man.
And it was very loud, so she didn't really have a great time because she couldn't even hear the music, but because, everyone was screaming. But yeah, my dad, he played guitar, and he had a band when he was in high school. And I have his guitar now, so I play it, when I do shows or the few times I've done shows. And with Ryan, we've done shows.
That's right.
And he has a Gibson SG so it's like a late 60s model. So it's, I'll probably keep that forever. But yeah, he's definitely... he listened to a lot of rock bands, and so that definitely influenced, suppose, what I like.
So you said 10 years ago he passed?
Yes. So I was 19, almost 20. It was toward the end of the year.
Yeah. Do you, how would you say that has influenced your art, or beyond that? Obviously that's like a traumatic, life-changing experience. So, I don't know, just... dive into that a little bit as you feel like it.
Yeah, it's a big, it's influenced it in a lot of ways, or rather, art has been the way that I've, encapsulated, or you end up using art to kind of process things and kind of give whatever you're feeling a different voice or visual. I don't know. So it's certainly made its way into a lot of things because I've used it to also to like keep him kind of present in a sense. So if I can put him into a song, then he's still a part of my life. And I know he is, because he's just, he's my dad. He's always going to be a part of me. But like making a song about him or like writing a film about him is just a way to kind of capture what I had with him, and again, to process in some way. 'Cause I have a song I wrote about him called "Like You Did," and my mom. She's probably gonna watch this. But anyway, my mom was like,
"Hi, Mom."
Hi, Mom.
Welcome.
She's great too, but I haven't written a song about her. Actually, I have, but she probably just doesn't remember. I was like a lot younger, and it probably doesn't sound that good. But anyway, she was like, do I have to die for you to write a song about me?" That's what she told me, and I was like, I didn't write that song for him. I wrote that for me. Like that was for me to like deal with it and like capture something with him. So it's like, that's why I haven't written a song about you, Mother. I love you so much, but I will write a song about you before you die, I promise.
And so will I.
I will capture it now, but yeah. So yeah, it's just a way to deal with things, I suppose. And it's made its way.
So you mentioned a film. I know that you're currently working on a film. I'm not sure how much you want to say now about it, if anything.
Yes, this is the first short film that I've written that was all mine. Like I've collaborated with friends, but yeah, this one was just for me and a way to write about my grief, and it was really hard to write it and shoot it. But it's really hard writing something super close to you and personal because it's hard to make it effective in a way because it's always going to affect you. And so you're like, yeah, this works. But then it's like, but as a film, it's like, oh, actually, this is like not translating. So how do I make this like cinematic while still maintaining what I want to say about it? So it was really hard to write it, but also very helpful because I learned, or there was just new realizations I had in writing about grief that I hadn't fully articulated before. So it was nice to discover that along the way. So yeah, it's very helpful. But it's very hard. Writing's very hard. But it's
the hardest.
Yeah, it's really. It's everything, right? You start there, and then good luck. But if your base isn't good, then jeez, and I don't even know if it was good. So we'll see.
Well, put a pin on that, and we're gonna go to your next song, which is "Numb" by.
Under the surface, don't know what you're expecting of me.
So, what brought you to LA?
Well, my friend, a friend from Houston, he was planning on moving to LA, and he invited me along with his friend, Chris, and his old college friend, and initially I was like, what? No, that's crazy. But after I guess a series of events with like my father and my grandmother and like their deaths, and I guess I felt like it was a good time for me to step into something else, and yeah, I guess I just explored and prayed and thought it was a good time to do it, to pursue acting and music. Mainly it was acting, and then I'd always kind of played music but hadn't been like that, I guess, determined as I have with acting, but upon arriving I discovered that music was a very lovely part of it all, and had kind of found myself pushed into these, or nudged into these areas of music, and so I embraced it more and became a very fruitful part of it pre-COVID. I missed the band, Ryan.
I know, we gotta get the band
gotta
back
get the
together.
band back
Super
together.
band. The super band, that's
Yeah,
right.
super band.
Well, let's move on to the next song, which it's Dawn Chorus by...
Thom Yorke.
No. Tom York.
It's a song about loss, nostalgia, and regret, with hushed, almost spoken vocals, according to Wikipedia.
Okay, yes, they are hushed. And it feels like that, doesn't it?
That was Dawn Chorus by...
Thom Yorke.
Can we get a little bit deeper?
Yes.
What is your favorite ice cream?
You know, recently I had one that was like, it was like a peanut butter caramel fudge swirl kind of thing, and it was really good. That's definitely most recent favorite. I would have it again right now.
Or is that just like a Ralph's variety?
Yeah, it was just like Ralph's. It's like robot something or other.
Robot.
That robot love.
Huh.
Very relevant. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know if I have like a super favorite. I mean, when I was a kid, I was like chocolate, easy.
Classic.
Also, we loved mint chocolate chip. We always had Bluebell mint chocolate chip in the fridge. I think that was my dad's favorite, so it just became all our favorites because that's what he kept buying.
So, recently you played a role in a show, a series that has been seen around the world by many people. You played the role of Judas's sister.
Yes, Devora is the name they gave her.
Devora.
Yeah, Devora.
How did you get this role in this big show, and how was it playing somebody from the 1st century AD in Israel, connected to one of the most famous persons in history?
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty famous, right? Jesus, the Baptist.
Jesus the Baptist?
He was baptized. Yeah, my manager submitted me for it, and then I did the audition. And initially it was like for a different role that they had said, but I think they were just trying to like...
Jesus, you auditioned for the role of Jesus?
No, that was already cast, you know.
Okay.
It had 2 seasons prior, already under its belt.
Shoot. Hate when that happens.
So, but yeah, I read it, and then I got a call back, and went over there, and met everyone. Dallas was there for the callback, and the director. And, yeah, we threw some jokes around. I started crying, because that was the scene, there was tears in the scene. But
I was going to say, like, the jokes just weren't that funny, and then you just,
yeah, I was like, oh, you guys
just
are
burst
laughing.
into tears.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was a really good audition, and I had a good experience with them. So I got to walk away feeling like good about what I had done, which was nice because you don't always feel that way. And yeah, then they booked me, and I flew over there, and met my buddy Luke, that he plays Judas, Luke Dimion, and we hit it off. So it was really nice. I mean, because we just got to like hang out right away. Because it was like, you have your travel day, then like a fitting day, and then you film, and then your other travel day. So they really spread it out for me, which is nice. But yeah, I mean, it was just nice to get to dig into something, and to dig into such a rich story is, I mean, gosh, what a gift.
I imagine you must have gotten a lot of texts from friends that they saw you or
yeah,
something.
here and there, sprinkling in. Yeah, some people had gone to the theater, so my cousin, my cousin didn't know I was in it, and so he went with his family, and then his daughters texted me. She's like, "You're in this!" And she's like sending me pictures. She's like, "We didn't know you were in it." So it was really fun to surprise some people that had went and saw it.
Do you have either an ideal role or a most inspiring role that you've played so far?
I don't know if there's like an ideal role, but I mean, there's certainly directors that I would love to work with, like Paul Thomas Anderson and Lynn Ramsey. I love them. So, like, I feel like it'd be nice to be in a film that feels like their movies.
What are some of the movies for those
that
of
leads
us?
us specifically to our next song,
Yeah, it
which
does.
is a cue from the movie You Were Never Really
Yeah,
Here,
directed by Lynn Ramsey
and music by Johnny Greenwood.
from Radiohead. And he plays for PTA.
The song title is Three Strings.
I was listening to that song on the way back from filming The Chosen, and like on the plane and looking out over the city, and it was all dark and all the lights were on, and I was just like, wow, this is hitting hard. It's a beautiful song. It feels like it's making you feel everything that you're, or like the best. When I listen to it, like to kind of be contemplative, it feels like it's wrapping me in like what I should be feeling, in the sense of like, or it's kind of it feels like it's encompassing things that are happening, but in like a good way, like depending on what it's encompassing, right? But it just feels like it can wrap it all up for you and kind of illuminate what something is. Yeah. So I love that song.
So how would your life be in a desert island? Are you like a person who can take care of yourself, like figure out how to survive?
I mean, yeah, I certainly hope so. I would think I would try and survive, but at the same time, maybe to be like, you know what, this is fine. I'll just listen to that song and just let the water take me. But I think I'd put up a fight initially. But I haven't put myself in any kind of circumstances like that other than camping. But that's like with a tent and stuff. So that's
Well, this brings us to the next part of our podcast, where we will be taking you. Okay. Where do we say? Death Valley? Mm-hmm. I think we're going to drop you off there. And,
it's not desert island, it's just desert.
It's desert, yeah.
Not a lot of resources.
Nope. That's the point. So we'll see you maybe in a week.
Okay, I'll try my best.
No. Tangents here.
Didn't know you guys had the budget for that.
Well, it doesn't really cost much. I mean, gas, I guess, is kind of expensive.
We can
still.
split the gas.
But although Death Valley is a national park, so it costs $30 to get in. So if you could Venmo us, actually, it'd be helpful. So I have a question. You have certain Marlaina-isms. And those of you who don't know Marlaina, which is most of our viewers, well, it depends on who's viewing. Anyways.
Not my mom.
Yeah. But my mom, for instance, doesn't know Marlaina. And Marlaina has certain quirks, certain ways of talking. I don't know if you could describe any of that. It's kind of, go for it. Do some.
Talking about like the high voice?
I don't know. Yeah, the high voice or pronunciation of certain words.
Which words, Ryan?
Well,
Do
let's
you
see
remember?
here.
You're bringing it up.
Well, certain people's names.
Oh, yeah. I like to
For-
put B's in people's names.
Yeah.
Except I
Like
can't do it to Ryan, but I can do it to his wife, Ronnie. I call her Romby.
Romby.
Or like Chris is Crib.
Crib.
Yeah.
What would my name be?
Andrib.
Oh, yeah, Andre.
Ombre. Brandre.
Andre.
Andrib.
Yeah. My mom, I call her Momby. Instead
Yeah.
of Mommy.
I'm trying to think of other words. Like
That could be the title of
Jess.
the song you'll write for her.
Yeah, Momby. It probably would be.
Momby.
She would find it hilarious.
Ooh.
Honestly, I started developing that, like, this stupid kid character with her because I was like, well, you know, my dad, he had been really sick, and that's why he ended up dying, because he was really sick. So while he was really sick and she was taking care of him, I started acting like a kid.
As one does in these circumstances.
I mean, you know, I was not a kid in need, like, please feed me, you know, just acting like it, just being silly with her like a kid. So I, like, had this voice that I would do with her. That, yeah, so we had a good time.
And that just kind of stuck around.
Yeah, I just kept doing it. I couldn't stop.
It became part of who you
I'm
are.
just a kid to everyone.
Yeah.
So next song is Across the Universe by...
Is that the next song?
That's the next song
That's what
on
you-
my
yeah.
notes.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, you're right. All right. I remember my parents, and then it's also, or a few of those songs feel like things that just kind of like take you somewhere else, and that one's a nice song for that, and like reminding you to kind of preserve the part of you that I guess your kind of inner world that you can build that you want to preserve, and like at least that's how I kind of interpret, like, nothing's going to change my world, and like whatever's happening, you can still kind of sit in your inner world and be okay with it. So it's just like that melody is just so beautiful. I just love how that sounds and it feels, and it's like this, you know, it feels like that visually. I know if you're just listening, I'm moving my hands around in a floaty way.
It's not one of those like
Yeah, so
songs.
I'm not pumping fists. I'm just floating around. A lot of floaty songs.
I guess it goes well with the desert island.
Yeah,
Sentiment.
like I could definitely be in the water just drifting away and be like, I'm not in the desert right now, I'm in my world. Unless I like being in the desert. But
Desert's
when
nice
I feel like I don't
sometimes.
want to be there anymore and want to go back into my inner world, I'll just listen to that song.
It'll take you across the universe.
And it'll take me across the universe even. I think they probably play that song in the movie Across the Universe when he's floating in the water. It's just got that vibe.
And well, let's go to your next song, which is the last one.
Yes.
It's
Okay.
Operator by...
Jim Croce.
Jim Croce.
Ah, see, I told you.
Why did you choose?
Operator, or could you help me place this call? See the number on the matchbook is old and faded. Living in LA with my best old ex-friend Ray.
Operator by Jim Croce.
Croce.
I noticed a pattern in several of the songs are by artists that tragically died quite young. Does that resonate with you somehow in music?
Not
Not yet.
there. I don't know how that would resonate, that they've died young, but yes, I too have died young. But yeah, I don't know. There's something about these guys' perspective on their
Well-
limited time. What Jim was he was actually pretty young. He's like younger than you think he would be whenever he died.
He was
just
30.
because- yeah, because he just looks older. He's got that full.
Everybody looked older back
mustache.
then.
Yeah.
Well, the goal for this project of you being left in the desert island is not to die.
Right.
So
But I've listened to
we're gonna give you one luxury item to
right.
to keep.
But you said it wasn't to help me
No,
survive.
just a
or, like,
luxury,
help
something
for-
that will help you. Somebody eventually might rescue you,
Sure. Okay.
but this is just to like enjoy your time there a little
Sure.
bit better.
I mean, I would love to be able to still like make coffee with my frothed oat milk. Is that like, does that count? Because
Yeah, that-
I'd
that's
love
it,
to wake up and be like, all right, what are we doing today? And then put all these songs on and just sip my coffee.
Powered.
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
I mean,
could
it's a
work.
few items, and I still need like a mug. I still need like
Yeah,
like a pour over and like a frother.
Yeah, the whole
Could
package.
be
is
like
gonna
a
be-
gift, like
I
one of those
want the
Christmas gift
frother.
packages and like the whole box thing.
Okay,
like
so
a
that
box set.
can count it as one.
Yeah.
And what one book you would take? We'll give you the Bible.
Okay.
That's free.
Thanks. That's a lot of material.
And the Book of Mormon.
Okay.
That's included in a lot of hotel rooms nowadays.
Oh wow, options. Gideon's Bible.
Do you have a book you would take? Are you a reader? You can
I-
choose an audiobook if you're not a reader.
I'm not like I'm not as much
You
of
say
a
naughty.
reader. Yeah, another.
Audiobook.
Pick a naughty book. Oh,
naughty book.
audio. See, I heard
Yeah.
another book, but you said
Naughty
audio.
Oh, that's where your mind is.
I heard
I
it
mean-
too, right? Yeah, I'm not. I don't read as much as I would like to, but I have been reading lately, and yeah, I think I would take as far as like. There's some books I really enjoy, but some of them can kind of bleak. So this one feels like the Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, would be a nice book to go back to over and over again because it's a nice place to be. That world is really enchanting, and so I would like to go. Like that book made me feel really warm and fuzzy, and I mean, the Lord of the Rings is just very. It just has that feeling anyway, and then since I was a kid, and then so it carries all the nostalgia, but also they're just like really good movies, and so yeah. So the books also do that for me too, which is nice. So yeah, I'd love to read Lord of the Rings again.
You don't
Fellowship.
have all the time in the world.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, it's
do it several
and
times.
it's a long
over.
journey too. So yeah, it's good to have like a more of a long journey kind of book if I'm going to be reading it over and over again. There's
Well,
a lot of songs in that one. You know?
our Uber to LAX, to the plane that is going to fly you to the desert island is out. So we're going to deliver you to the desert island.
Okay.
Everything you ask for is on your luggage, and you're on your way there. We're going to stay here
Sure.
in safe land.
Stay hydrated. Yeah.
That's right. We're going to hydrate a lot. But thank you for
Yeah.
coming with us, and good luck in the island.
Thank you, gentlemen. Godspeed you, Spider-Man.
Thank you so much for joining us. We don't want to lose you, so please get involved. Find out about our prayer call sheets, how you can get a prayer partner, get the updated news of what's going on in Hollywood, and even connect with our local chapters. So join us at HollywoodPrayerNetwork.org.